to figure out why it is that I have to wear a mask when you guys are here giving away free needles to people and to drug addicts. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand that. I mean, it's not even just needles. You guys got Brillo pads, straws, needles. I mean, I just don't understand what this is. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. San Francisco policies just make no type of sense around here. You guys give people the ability to basically poison themselves, but you want me to wear a fucking mask outdoors. You know what I'm saying? It just makes no sense. These people are ridiculous.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's just my personal opinion. Somebody's got to say it, so I'm going to say it. We need a new president in 2024. When we saw what we saw the other day, handing out diplomas to graduates at the Air Force Academy in Colorado, and we saw him fall, it happens. It's not the end of the world. It's not evidence that he's just not all there, but he is 80. There does come a point in time where there are certain jobs you don't need. It's not that you don't need to be working. It's not that you don't need to be living your life. It's not that you don't need to be living a very vibrant lifestyle or anything like that. But there are responsibilities that are far, far, far more extensive than, let's say, the typical 9 to 5 that somebody in their 80s may not need to be doing. I think the presidency is one of them. I do.
A constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage.
You know, think about this. The world's going to Hades in a handbasket. We are desperately concerned about the circumstance relating to avian flu. We don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough police officers. And we're going to debate the next 3 weeks, I'm told, gay marriage, a flag amendment, and God only knows what else. I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
I can remember exactly when my epiphany was.
Okay.
I hadn't thought much about it, to tell you the truth. And I was a senior in high school, and my dad was dropping me off. I remember about to get out of the car, and I looked to my right, and 2 well-dressed men in suits kissed each other. I mean, they gave each other a kiss. And then one looked like he was heading to the DuPont building, and one looked like he headed to the Hercules Corporation building. And I'll never forget, I turned and looked at my dad. He said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other. It's simple. No, I'm not joking. It's simple. They love each other. And it's never been, it's never been, it's just that simple. It doesn't matter whether it's same-sex or a heterosexual couple. You should be able to be married. What is the problem?
I'm about to say something really controversial in Joe Biden's America. If you're able-bodied, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. And if you commit a violent crime, you go to jail. And if you're a man, you should play sports against men. America needs more victors and less victims. I'm Tim Scott, and I approve this message because these aren't just conservative values. They're American values. And as president, I will defend them.
There you go. Welcome to another Monday.
There we go. Glad to see Joe is quick of his thought and always on point. He keeps the same direction from one year to the next.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody before the show, and I advised them not to listen to the first half hour.
I'm sorry to hear your dad won't be watching.
Because I can't understand how people just don't see the fool that this guy is, the fraud that he is.
Yeah, he's a douche.
And you know, the continuous argument is, well, Trump was worse. Well, okay. One, I don't know if that's true. The policies were better underneath President Trump, and the shit that's going on now isn't while he's president. And so to continually go back to Donald Trump when we have a guy in office who clearly said what he said back in 2006 and then said something completely different in this past year here. Why aren't you talking about him? Why isn't the left screaming for this guy to be removed from office? Because he's either too stupid, too senile, or just an outright liar.
I think that's it right there. I think it's the latter.
And so I don't understand why, it's a constant battle to just bash on Trump. I mean, there's people that used to work on the show that are still posting. I mean, thankfully, only like 3 people actually see it, but are still posting just anti-Trump stuff. Yet the left is the ones that are screaming, bring everybody together. Joe Biden wanted to unify the country, and yet it's more divided than ever, and it continues with the lies and the crap that it continues to institute.
Yeah, it does. Look, somebody a long, long time ago, and I mean not much before Trump or much before, way, way, way back, I'll just say. I don't remember exactly when. Like Joe Biden, I don't remember exactly when this was said to me. But I had this epiphany, see? And that epiphany was, don't trust anybody who says anything on TV trying to influence you on getting anything. Because if they are, they're lying. And they'll only say it until it's not to their advantage anymore. And then once it's not to their advantage anymore, then they'll go the other way that is. This is a perfect example of it. That video you played. Here's Biden saying, he's not only saying there's no need for it, he's saying this is stupid to argue about in 2006. And now he's saying, well, I had this epiphany as a child, and my dear dad said this, and I said, Dad, how can this be? Shut up, Joe. Shut up. I can promise you this. Back when Joe Biden's dad was saying that, which was probably the Depression, for God's sakes. I mean, in the Depression years, or let's be realistic, what years would Joe have been a kid? The 40s? The 50s? There was not this big acceptance of the gay community. The gay community was like either secret or murdered back in Joe Biden's dad's age.
Right.
So stop with this. You had this epiphany and you said it to your dad. Like I told you on the phone when you told me about this. You know what's missing from Joe's statement? That smack in the back of Joe's head for saying such a thing in 1953.
I did whatever, yeah.
Why
is always with his dad's opinion? It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's
true,
because
that's the only thing that he can come up with to say.
I'm assuming his dad is quite dead, right? So
he's almost dead. Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume, unless his dad was 16 or something like that.
So maybe that's why the stories are always his dad's opinions, because there's no rebuttal to them.
Yeah, there's no way to check in on those stories to make sure they were accurate or not.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so much to talk about. We have we have a couple of guests on tonight.
We do. Joe's almost dead.
Julia Poorman, singer, songwriter.
And a different style than we've had on the New Music Moment.
Yes, usually when you listen to music on this show, you either want to punch somebody, bang your head up against the wall, or something like that. It's good to get you pumped up. Yeah. Tonight, Julia is a little bit of a different style, a little bit refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
What
would you call her? She looks young.
How old she is.
She does look young, but I think she's actually closer to 30 than you might think. I think she's like 27 or something.
I mean, because I don't want to say, she's way hot, and then have her be like,
She's not 14 or something. I know that.
Good. All right.
I read something about her and her spouse have a business or something. So
okay. All right.
So I'm assuming she's a little older than 12, but
so I'm looking forward to talking to her though. She's on Spotify. She gets a lot of downloads per month on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
She has her own TikTok channel, which is cool because that's all the kids do these days.
And by the kids, you mean you.
And by the kids, I do mean me, because I love my TikTok. I have anybody that wants to get rid of TikTok, I don't care if you listen to the show or not. I'm not a big fan of you right now because I love TikTok. Leave my TikTok alone.
That's right.
I have a very routine kind of evening where I am done watching TV in the living room. It's time for me to retire to the bedroom.
That's right.
And of course, if you don't know, I'm missing the right leg, so I have to wheel myself into the bedroom because I got no right leg on, and it's time to get into bed. And then I have a little while before I'm going to be ready to actually fall asleep.
Sure.
And it used to be vodka, and that was the easiest way to do it. And good night.
Right.
But no, now it's TikTok. Now I literally will sit there scrolling up.
Right. Looking at TikTok.
Scroll up. Just to see all the TikTok videos until my eyes get heavy and then go to sleep.
That's right. Here's Julia Poorman.
No.
Yeah, she's older than 14.
She's good looking. She's good looking.
Yeah, she is good looking. There's no doubt about that. I don't know how old she is, but I guess we'll ask her.
Well, I don't want to say, hey, welcome to the show. How old are you so I can tell you that you're hot?
Yeah. Can I say that you're hot, or is that inappropriate? Or will I get a knock on my door right after the show?
Well, her music doesn't seem like that kind of, like she's that kind of person. Maybe your spouse is kind of mean, though. I don't know.
Yeah. All it says on the best I could find is age range 25 to 35.
Oh, that's good. But
So
again,
she's at
I
least
tried to
25.
look. I didn't see like a Wikipedia page or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't think she's that established yet. She is truly she is what the new music moment is supposed to be. Somebody that is not yet established. Although she's had music in like The Young and the Restless back in the day. So
I saw that.
And I don't think that's even a show anymore, is it?
I don't know. I was never a big soap guy.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch Days of Our Lives. I did spend
Really?
I spent a few years watching some days when I was working third shift. I made sure I was up by 1:00 so that I could catch me a little Days of Our Lives. Hell yes. That was when like Lisa Rinna was in her 20s and was like totally smoking hot. She played Billy on that show.
Yeah, see, I can say I honestly have never seen one episode of any soap opera ever.
Oh, dude, soap operas, I mean, all they are, and I've never understood why they're this way, they're low-budget versions of late-night TV, of evening TV. And like Days of Our Lives back in the day was absolutely that. You had like the spy guy, Stefano DiMera, that was always out creating havoc and robbing people and, flying around the world to commit crimes and all this stuff and kidnapping people and, and then you had like the crazy conspiracy stuff. You had this girl, Marlena, that, forgot who she was for 3 years and built a whole new life around her. It was like this whole bizarro world of reality, but it was a combination of hot women, crazy, almost nighttime type stories, but on a very low budget, which never made sense to me why a show like Days of Our Lives, which, how long was that show on? 50 years?
Yeah.
50 years or whatever. It looked like something me and you would shoot with 3 friends on an iPhone. It always looked bad.
I never liked those shows. I never liked even the nighttime kind of soap stuff like Dallas or whatever it was. Or
but what about now? Do you want like Sopranos or S.H.I.E.L.D. or?
Well, Sopranos obviously no longer around.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
I watched Oz.
I watched
Oz back in the day, but that's an HBO thing. As far as like primetime TV anymore, I don't watch any shows other than reality stuff.
Right.
Stuff like, Idol and Survivor and stuff like that.
You might want to ask your mom who her daddy is there, Rick.
Used to be a regular watcher. See, I never got into any of that stuff.
I only got into the one.
I watched The Bachelor, yes. Okay, but The Bachelor is not a soap opera.
No, that's
actual reality TV.
Yeah, I mean, it's scripted and bogus, but somebody actually does get married.
There's nothing staged about that.
Yeah, right, sure.
All that stuff is accurate. It's
all real.
Feelings. Those are true feelings coming out of those men and women.
That's right, because that's what people do. They run around trying to impress each other so they can get handed a rose at the end of the night.
See, the sad part is, like, I think it used to be like that. Like, when it first started, I think it was an actual show where people were trying to find love. And now you can tell, like, right at the beginning, which ones are tossed in there to either irritate the other ones.
Right.
Or the ones that are going to be, like, the drunks and jumping in the pools half naked. And they're going to be gone soon. They're going to be gone quicker.
Sure. Well, you better get ready for a whole new batch of those type of shows, because if this writer's strike doesn't end pretty soon, that's what they go to is reality TV.
Well, did you see what the next Bachelor is going to be?
No, I've never.
They made this announcement.
What is
They
it?
made the announcement not that long ago that it's going to be the Golden Bachelor. So it's going to be a senior citizen bachelor.
Oh no!
With a bunch of senior women or senior men. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think it's a bachelor. That's going to be an old dude, and
Who's
then
watching
bunch
that?
of older women. I will watch that.
You will watch that, really?
I mean, look, I don't watch The Bachelor just to see hot girls in bikinis. That's part of it.
That's the only reason.
Now you're going to get to see old women in bikinis, which I think will be spectacular.
Oh, stop!
And then on top of that, you're talking about people that are truly trying to find the love of their lives before they die. I think that'll be fantastic.
Will you stop it?
Come on,
Nobody wants
watch that.
Nobody wants to watch B. Arthur competing with Rue McClanahan for the love of I don't know, some old guy.
I beg to differ.
Really?
I think it'll be quite fascinating to watch old women like get emotional and try to fight each other over a dude. I think this is true. Trans Bachelor is next.
Great.
Yeah. All right. See, now, if I was going to produce a show like that, though, I would put a twist on it.
Okay.
Like, I would have the woman there, right?
Yeah.
Who's the one finding the love of the 30 guys.
Sure.
But she's actually a man.
Okay.
And then you don't tell the 30 men that are vying for her love that she's a man.
Oh, no.
So they will fall in love with who they think is a woman. And then when they have the overnight
reveal,
they're going to finally find out that it's a man. And then how do you react? Once you're in love with somebody, it doesn't matter if they have a penis. That would be the question.
Except for that show might end with a special murder edition.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about reality TV? I think that would be the best way to do it.
That would not be good. You would see it would turn into Jerry Springer in a second.
I'm telling you, if you have
I'd watch
30
it,
guys and they see, and she's wearing a Target tuck bathing suit. So you don't know when she gets in the pool that she is actually a man.
Right. Well,
and then the overnights happen.
Right.
And watch out.
Could happen.
Yes, Gunner.
All
Baby right. Yeah, I'm telling you, the Golden Bachelor is going to be fun. We have Julia Poorman sitting here waiting. I don't want her to hear any of this conversation. So I apologize to her in advance. But we will talk to her in just about a minute and a half. All
right.
Hang on.
Hey everybody, it's Don Dockin. When I'm feeling nostalgic, I always go to Pinball PA. You gotta go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Stop what you're doing and start making memories at Pinball PA, located at 2284 Broadhead Road, Suite 10B in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. We have over 420 video games and pinball machines to play, and all games are set to free play, so no quarters or tokens are needed. Pinball PA is open 6 days a week, and is the best and most affordable entertainment spot in all of Western Pennsylvania. Check out our website at www.pinballpa.com for more details. Come visit Pinball PA today. Initials up.
Aaron Tees and Signs has become your complete one-stop sign shop. Call Jimmy at 216-299-9344. Their friendly and professional staff can and will help you build your company brand and identity from start to finish. One stop means you get a complete package from one location. Custom logo design, vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, storefront marquees, and so much more. Aaron Tees and Signs, 4883 Turney Road. Call us at 216-299-9344.
How could a man be so cruel? Wouldn't she wait for the payday to put a temporary smile on her face? But only God knows the shadows ever want, yeah, we already got it. Sitting in a dark room, admiring a stranger on the phone. If only
And let's welcome Julia Poorman to the show. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Where are you? It looks very nice where you're at.
I'm actually at my day job. This is like our little foyer area. So we have some plants and some windows. So yeah.
You have a day job. Come on, man. Your music is taking off. People are listening to you all over Spotify and everything else. You need to quit that day job, start working on music alone.
I would love to be able to do that from your lips to God's ears. I mean, if I can, sustain myself in that way, that would be the goal.
Sure. Well, Julia, since probably most of our audience is not aware of you yet, let's make them aware. Why don't we start out with just kind of give us a brief history of you and your music and, how we've gotten to this point today.
For sure. So I have been singing and writing songs for a long time, since I was a little kid, and then I started taking it seriously around middle school area. And then in high school, I started recording, I went to New York City, recorded an EP, got together with somebody that really helped me formulate my songwriting, really kind of helped me workshop my tracks and produce them, and started, playing locally and whatnot. And I put music kind of on the back burner for probably about 7 to 8 years. I really started taking my fiance and I run another company, and that's what I'm here doing today. And so I kind of wanted to focus more on my career for a little while, and then in 2021, I had, a major life event happened. And I just really needed to kind of dive back into music in order to heal from that. And I just have not been able to stop writing ever since. And I kind of figured it's now or never if I'm really going to try to pursue this. So here I am now.
Right on. Well, I in a similar but quite different realm, I write books, and I write books about my own personal life.
Okay.
And I could tell you it is very frightening, release day anyway. Release day, when you put it out there and you're telling people an awful lot of stuff that 99% of the world would not share, it is absolutely frightening. And then for a little while, when you start getting the responses back, you start getting I felt this for me, it's when I read this. I'm sure you get the same exact thing when they hear your songs and say, oh, well, this reminded me of whatever the event would be. Mm-hmm. For you, I guess a two-part question. How do you justify sharing that much of your vulnerable side? And B, are you comfortable doing it?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a fine line, because I've always been a pretty open person. I think that's just the part of me that likes to connect with other people. And I think that you can form deeper connections with people when you do open up about some of the trials that you've been through, or maybe some of the shadow side of you that maybe you don't want people to see or know about, or, some of the struggles you've been through. And I've always been pretty open with that and pretty raw with my emotions. So there's not much shame around that. But I think once you get older, and you start to come out in the workplace, and you start to, there definitely are things you don't want to share with the world as you become an adult. When you're a kid, it's kind of whatever, word vomit. And then you become an adult, and we kind of want to have these, this perception of who we are to other people. So I totally get that. We're very brave to bare our souls like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think that songwriters or artists or writers in general should hold back. I think, like I said, I think that's vulnerability is what brings us closer together. And it's been really cool to hear other people's experiences with my songs. I write it from one perspective, from having one experience, and somebody else applies that to their own experience, and it means something maybe very similar or maybe very different from how I intended, or how, from the perspective I wrote it from.
So when it comes to writing music, what are you don't need to delve into your personal life too much, but what are your inspirations? What makes you write these songs? You write, is it breakups? Is it what kind of experiences do you write about?
Yeah, so when I was younger, it was heavily revolved around either falling in love or breaking up. And I think that's when I listen to so many songs, that's like 80% of the music out there. It's either I'm falling in love and we're so happy, or you broke my heart, how dare you, screw you, you know?
Right.
So there was a lot of that, and probably because that's what I heard of a lot. So I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna write about breakups, you know, and heartbreak. But also there's a lot of that in high school, in middle school and high school. You know, you're kind of figuring out how to have a first relationship, or what love is, or, you know, you're kind of feeling all those things out. And of course, you know, nothing really lasts that long. So of course you're bound to get your heart broken when you're like 14, 16 years old.
Right.
So I found a lot of solace in writing about those experiences. It felt super therapeutic. Like there'd be nights I would be like just crying and really upset, and then I would turn it into a song. And then like when I would sing that song, I felt empowered, and it really kind of transmuted that, you know, those emotions. So yeah, I feel like, to get back to your question, I was just like, wait a minute, what did he ask me? So yeah, definitely from that. And now that you bring that up, I mean, lately I've been trying to kind of put my storyteller cap on a little bit. And it's like, all right, well, maybe I've never experienced this exact thing, but I want to write about this scenario and how well I can write this scenario. So, you know, putting myself in somebody else's shoes, or putting myself in my younger shoes, and maybe trying to remember back to a time, because, you know, being my age at this point now, you know, I've been in a relationship for 9 years, and I've had the same job for 9 years. And so there's a lot of like, not that my life isn't exciting and we haven't traveled and we haven't done things and seen things and there's been ups and downs, but as far as trying to keep that creative spark, you know, you want to kind of create a story. So I've been trying to do that.
See, I was going to ask, does your fiance worry a little bit that he's going to end up like the next song? Because, you know, Taylor Swift, somebody like that, moves on every other day just so she can have a new album.
And it has worked out okay for Taylor Swift.
It's worked out all right. So
it's totally worked for her. Yeah. And now she and Joe just broke up, and that was 6 years, a relationship of 6 years. So I can't even imagine what her next album is going to be like.
What I'm saying. You could be a millionaire. You got to tell the guy, though, sorry, it's been a good run, but I got to move forward.
Yeah, I hear you. He probably wouldn't be very happy with that, but you know. But no, I don't think he's too concerned with that. But I think, you know, drawing from some of her experiences, you know, she did have an era. There were 2 albums she wrote, Folklore and Evermore, that were very storyteller. And it was, you know, about a girl named Betty, and she wrote a whole song about Betty. And, you know, she was kind of just like creating these stories. And I thought that was really cool, because those were some of her best albums, in my opinion. So I guess taking a little bit a note out of her book, you know, to have some more experiences.
Do you solely write from your own experiences, or do you try to tell, you know, where you were saying putting on your storyteller hat? Or
yeah.
Do you go maybe more, I don't know, Edwin McCain-ish, and try and tell kind of more universal stories here and there that everybody should be able to relate to?
Well, it's funny you mention that, because I've written in a couple different directions here. And one is mainly like, okay, Julia Poorman as like me trying to create myself as an artist or as a brand, right? And then there's also some stuff I do with sync licensing. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with sync licensing, stuff can never really be too specific, because I have this one instructor who's like, you can sing about a house, but don't sing about a red house, because then they can't put it in a universal scene. So trying to write like that has definitely kind of broadened my skill level, because normally if you had asked me this question 7-8 years ago, it would all be from personal experience. Pretty much everything I wrote was either, like I said, like a breakup or a loss of somebody, or, you know, written about a friend, or, you know, that kind of stuff. And then trying to put that cap on of like, okay, let me try to write something really broad is actually very difficult.
Sure.
I have found that to be very difficult, because you really, as a writer, you want to get specific, because it's in those specific moments where you hear how well something is crafted lyrically, that you're like, whoa, that is so genius. But if you're just singing about like the trees blowing in the wind, and like, it's definitely more of a task, because my mind wants to be like, how well can we say this? How cleverly can we say this?
But the only problem with doing that, though, is if you're not capturing into the movie TV market these days, this style of music just, I was thinking about this before we started. This style of music has been almost killed by radio's laziness and just keeping classic music. They don't bring new artists like yourself into the mix. They just go find a ballad from, I don't know, anybody, from Guns N' Roses, from Tina Turner, from whoever, and recycle it, instead of bringing up new talent. But movies still seems to be the place where a lot of new talent can get found. For you, when you see that, is that disheartening, or would you be just fine if 50 movies bought Julia Poorman music?
I would be just fine with that. I mean, as long as people can like Shazam it and figure out that it's me. So that's the only thing is, and maybe not. If the money was there and I was like having fun doing it, and I was able to still hone my skills and practice my craft, and it was able to provide me with some stability, I think I would be totally fine with nobody even knowing who I was. But there's this other part of me that's like, no, you have to be the star, and you have, like, I don't want to give up on it yet. But yeah, I think you make a really great point, because there's definitely a lot of times I'll watch like new HBO series or movies or documentaries, and I'll find really cool artists and really cool songs in that way.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I literally sit with my phone, and every time music comes on, I'm popping Shazam up just to see who it is, and then I'm going to Spotify. And sometimes it's, and again, this is the weird thing about today media versus like 20-year-old media. 20, 30 years ago, you would buy a soundtrack and it had this list, and you would discover bands. Today, it's such a weird thing. You'll hear an iconic song, like the Sopranos theme, which I know that's older, but who does it? Do you know?
No.
It's one of the most iconic songs of all time.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who did it. And that's disheartening.
Yeah.
For a creative person like yourself. If you had a song that was known by 100 million people like that song, and nobody could say, hey, that's who, I don't even know who it is. I was just throwing it out there.
Right.
But how disheartening is that?
No, he's like,
I'm sure he's financially happy, but there's a part of you that wonders if he wouldn't rather be out there, rivaling Taylor Swift on that tour, playing stadiums.
Right. Yeah, no, you make a very good point. I think, it's a fine line by like being fulfilled with the craft itself, or because, I have this one producer who is always like, comparing the amount of money I would make from streams. Like I have one song that has over 100,000 streams, and he's like, okay, so that's X amount of dollars. It's not a lot. And then he'll be like, now for the same, for 10 plays on this one TV show, you're making like twice that. You know what I mean? So he's like 100,000 streams versus 10 streams. Right. And it's like, well, from that perspective, sure. And nobody knows on those TV shows who I am. So I've had a couple songs on The Young and the Restless. So that's really my only success so far with sync music. But at the end, it's not like, oh, Julia Poorman wrote this song or anything like that. So I think you really do have to weigh kind of what is more important to you, or what you value more. And I think it's just cool for me personally to dip my toe in a little bit of both, because it's cool to watch TV and not that I watch The Young and the Restless in general, but when my songs were on, I would definitely, I was Huluing it and listening to myself on TV, and I thought that was cool. But yeah, you kind of have to, you have to see where you feel most fulfilled.
Right. And it really comes into that place of what do you want out of your career? Because I can just tell you, I have two friends that are both in the Songwriting Hall of Fame, and they've written huge songs for huge players. And I'll tell you their names, and you're going to say, yeah, I don't know either. Gary Burr and Georgia Middleman. And nobody knows them.
No.
And they've written like, I know Gary wrote Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me for Juice Newton a zillion years ago. And it's like, okay, that's a big giant song, and nobody knows his name. You know, and that's, but he's,
Yeah.
you know, but he's in a huge house and he's happy. So
yeah, a lot of these artists too, you know, some of them write their own music, but even if they write their own music, there's like 2 or 3 other co-writers on there. So it's interesting because a lot of the people that are the faces of the music are not typically the writers of the music. And, you know, I think about that sometimes too, like whatever, just want to write tracks for other artists. And maybe I would get to that point too. But yeah, I guess, you know, it's interesting, you know, this industry is cutthroat. It's not necessarily easy to make it or anything, but it's cool that there's a few different avenues for people. So, you know, you want to write songs for other artists. Do you want to get your songs on TV or in movies? Do you want to play out and do you want to tour? You know, do you want to run Spotify promotions and just see how many streams you can rack up? I mean, I don't know. There's so many different areas that people can find success in. So I think that is definitely cool.
So where are you at? And like, do you play local? Do you do a lot of like bar gigs? Do you go out and see the scene? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, so I do play locally. Currently right now, I really want to get my full band some gigs, but that's the thing is like I'm trying to find the gigs at the right places because I am not an artist that wants to play Brown Eyed Girl and cover songs for 3 hours at a bar, even though I hear that's what, you know, you kind of, and I've done it, believe me, I've done it before in the past. And I'm about to play a birthday party, not a birthday. I mean, yeah, I guess it's a birthday party or like an anniversary party for a coffee shop in a couple of weeks. And that's cool. But, you know, mixed into there, it's a lot of covers and a lot of that kind of stuff. So the gigs that I'm trying to get, they have to be like the right venue. You know, it has to be like a 30 to 45 minute set on a bill with other original artists in a venue that supports original music. And that is really kind of hard to come by. And the places that do that, you kind of have to know someone that knows someone in order to get in. So it's like, yes, I am playing locally, but I'm playing like kind of solo acoustic stuff here and there. And, my sights are set on getting some full band gigs at like some cool venues in New Jersey, like around the Asbury area, or in New York, like Brooklyn would be really, really cool.
Yeah, people are asking where you were located. So you're up there in New York and stuff like that?
I am in Asbury Park, New Jersey. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, but I've been in Asbury for about 9 years now.
It's got to be a pretty good music scene up there, you would think. Probably a lot of places to play and a lot of places to get out and show your music.
It absolutely is. There's a little, it's not actually little, it's a cute little boutique hotel in Asbury, and they do open mic nights and they do little showcases for local artists and they support original music there. So I've played there multiple times and hope to be back soon. But there's other places like the Stone Pony, the Wonder Bar. So all of those places are venues that I say eventually, but I'm like ready to go. I just need someone to like write me back and like, you know, hook it up. But yeah, so it's definitely a cool scene. It's just in the summertime, Asbury is like slammed. Their calendars are booked out, you know, and it's a very niche scene. But yes, there's definitely a lot of places to play and a lot of opportunities here.
All right, don't kill me here, but I'm just going to ask the question because people keep texting in and asking, how old is she? Now, I don't know. I would never like to ask a lady her
I'm
age.
guessing 23.
I was going to say 25. Wow. 25.
Okay. I will take either of those. I'll take either of those. I was born in the mid-90s. Let's leave it at that.
All right.
That's a lot younger than us, so you should probably, you can come clean. It's all right.
I was born in the late 60s, so mid-90s is a big difference.
It's totally out there. I'm 28, but I will be 29 in August. So,
okay. And then for every year after.
Exactly.
So when's the big day? And everybody's wondering that too. You're engaged. You got a fiance.
Yeah.
When is it coming soon? You guys getting hitched, or are you gonna dump them before then write another song?
I will be so July 21st.
Nice.
So coming up in 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But yeah, we've been together for 9 years, so it's like, we're just ready to do it.
Now, let me ask you this on the marriage thing.
Okay.
Only because I have a bunch of friends that are musicians. I've been to several friends' weddings where they performed at their own wedding. Will you perform at your own wedding? No chance.
No. I was even like, should I play like some of my songs on the playlist? And that's like as far as I would go, is maybe have like a song or two on the playlist.
Okay.
I thought it would be cool to commemorate. But no, I will not. I will not be playing.
You got enough to worry about, right?
Yeah, and it's a very small, like, so totally low key wedding, because we've been engaged for 3 years, and COVID threw it off, and then I lost my father and he lost his mother, and it was kind of just like 2 years of and COVID, like the whole COVID thing. It was just kind of 2 years of like, what are we doing? Like,
right.
We just didn't feel like planning anything like that. So finally, like 2 months ago, we're like, let's just do it. Like, come on, like, we're not going anywhere, so let's just do it. So it's very small, but no, I will not be performing. I don't need that extra like preparation. Right. And it would be one of those things where it'd be like all eyes on me and silence. So no.
All right, I'm going to ask a weird question, but I got to know this because I've never talked to a female artist like, I had a chance to talk like this. Are guy groupies as weird as like female groupies to rock stars? Are they coming up to you and hitting on you, and your poor fiancé is sitting right there watching everything?
I haven't had too much of that experience yet, to be honest. A lot of the stuff I've done is very small, but I will say, like, people on the internet is more like, that's where a lot of weird stuff happens. Yeah. So yeah, I had like this one guy over FaceTime Messenger, and so he first wrote me saying like, "Hi, Julia." And I looked on his page, and he worked at a record label or something. So I thought it was just somebody inquiring. So of course I wrote back. And then after that, he was like saying his name and my name sounded good together. And I was just oh, no, that's where, where I'm good. So I stopped replying. And then like 2 weeks ago, because I just kind of out of sight, out of mind, stopped replying. 2 weeks ago, he's like FaceTime message calling me. And I'm like walking down to the beach, and it's just on repeat calling me. I was like, all right, this is where you get blocked. So like, there's definitely been some internet stuff, but not so much in person.
Wow. So what are your plans going forward as far as music? Are you going to keep doing Spotify? You got another album coming out, or?
Yeah, so definitely I'm going to keep the Spotify releases up for sure. I have plans of potentially putting out a full-length album with some of the singles that I've already done, plus some other music. I think the thing is just like, everybody wants new stuff continuously, right? So it's like just trying to keep up with that demand. Yeah, everyone's like, no, we need more Julia music. But, I like to think that. But no, I think it is just important for like, the algorithm and all that stuff. People always want, new stuff. So
they do, but and I'm the biggest hater of this. I'm an album person. Maybe it's because I'm old. It probably is. But I just feel like right now you're working View of You is the current single. Which great song, by the way. We're going to play a little bit of it before we finish. But I think that when you do singles, they get lost. If somebody doesn't catch it that first day, if they miss it the first day and it doesn't get added to the right playlists or the right people share it or whatever, it's gone. And people look like, I'm as guilty as anybody of it. I'll look at Spotify, and if I see 2022, it's like, nah. That's
really.
I'm like, that's old. I want new. I'm as guilty as everybody.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's one song, let's just say I didn't like View of You. If I heard that song and I don't know you, I'm gone forever. And that's so not fair when you look at older bands. You look at a Journey or a Foreigner or whatever. They had a few clunker 30, 40 songs that didn't hit before they hit. Right. And it's like, wow, you get one shot now and it's gone. It just seems like we're losing a lot of quality music and musicians because of the singles mentality that Spotify pushes.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I agree with that. I had an interview last week and we were talking about how like songs and music has just become really watered down. Not for everybody. Of course you can't like paint with a fat brush or whatever they say. Broad brush. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, not everybody, but there's definitely a lot out there. I think people just feel the pressure to release. And luckily, in my case, it was actually, I'm prepared for this because it's not like when I put out Already Got It months ago that was my first song that I had ever written. Like I have so much material because I've been writing for so long. And I even have an old EP that there's some tracks on there that I might want to release as new tracks, because I did put them on Spotify, but I quickly took them down when I started like re-releasing or, reintroducing myself into music. So I have a lot of material, which is great, but I feel like, so the quality there isn't like rushed, but there are definitely a lot of artists that they're just beginning, that they feel that pressure, that crunch to produce.
Well, the best way anymore to get stuff out there is going on TikTok and putting up a minute-long clip on there. I mean, I wasn't creeping, but I was looking at your TikTok channel before the show, and I mean, that's the best way to get your personality out there anymore is this social media stuff. But it's crazy because it's a one-shot deal. I mean, if you don't catch somebody in that 1 minute clip, they're not going to follow you, and then on to the next.
Yeah. And what's crazy about TikTok is you don't know what video could have hundreds of thousands of eyes on it. Like I've made so much content about like my music or just like inspirational stuff about like, you can do it kind of messages. And the one that got like 500,000 views is one of me making fun of myself putting in one of those light bulbs that's like light sensitive. And I didn't know that it was, and I put it in a lamp. And I just happened to use a song I just picked this song because I liked it. I heard it one time, I picked it, and it just happened to be blowing up at the time. Right. And after I made that video, that song was like every 2 scrolls. It was just like that last night we let the liquor talk. You couldn't scroll through TikTok and not hear that song. So this was another one of those. And it was just like me, like laughing at me moving my arm and the light turning on, and that got like 400 and something thousand streams, but it had nothing to do with my music. So I was like,
crazy.
Of course. But TikTok is very strange, but it's like a necessity right now.
Well, tell everybody where they can find your music.
Yeah, you can find my music on Spotify, on Apple, on Deezer. You just have to look me up. My first name is Julia. My last name is Poorman, spelled like poor man. And you can find me on Instagram at Julia_Poorman. You can find me on TikTok at Julia_Poorman. YouTube, my name.
Well, just so you know, I did follow you. But I'm not some weird dude. I was just checking out everything for the show.
Awesome. No, thank you.
I'm gonna start liking all your 100 videos that you have on there.
If you get a weird FaceTime that says Seth on it, you'll know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Just
I apologize for the calls earlier.
Okay?
Well, thank you for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Oh, of course, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. You were really
Good luck
fun.
to you. Good luck to you. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we'll have you on again. Talk about when you're the next Taylor Swift playing the stadium here. So,
oh my God. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, good luck, Julia. Thank you so much.
Care.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too.
How could a man be so cruel when she waits for the payday to put a temporary smile on her face? But only God knows the shadows on the other side of the frosted window. Oh, we need it, but we got it. Oh, we need it, but we got it. Oh, we need it, but we got it. All we ever want, yeah, we already got it. Sitting in a dark room, admiring a stranger on the phone. If only
What separates Triv's restaurant in Strongsville from everybody else? Some restaurants you go to eat the same thing over and over and over. But then there are restaurants like Triv's where you want to go there every single time and eat something different until you have eaten every single item on the menu. Why? Because the food's delicious, and it has been for almost a quarter of a century. Triv's has amazing food, outstanding service, and an opportunity for you to have private dining, special events, and intimate occasions. You can enjoy a memorable fine dining experience in your own dedicated, intimate space. Visit Triv's in the heart of Strongsville. Call now for reservations, 440-238-8830. Triv's in Strongsville. Joe Burdick custom flags are amazing. Each flag is handcrafted to reflect the imperfect perfection, making each piece of patriotic wall art unique. This is a local small business, veteran-owned and proud. Joe Burdick creates symbolic artwork that is built to last. Display your spirit, pride, and patriotism by calling 440-305-2065 and let Joe's flag serve you. 440-305-2065. Joe Burdick Flags. Let me introduce you to Charlie's Auto Repair. Any car, any truck, any problem, Charlie's does it right. You know how it is. The check your engine light comes on, you put air in the tires, and the light is still on. 216-470-0170. That's Charlie's Auto Repair, 13728 Madison in Lakewood. Charlie can do it all, from small engine repair to fleet maintenance and system diagnostics. 216-470-0170. Charlie's Auto Repair. Let Charlie make your car great once again.
Right back here, the Seth Williams Show. Chris Aiken. People like the interview with Julia
she was
Poorman.
great. Julia was very, very good.
I'm not a big fan. What are you saying here?
Considering nobody knew.
Yeah.
Nobody knew, including us, what we were walking into. That was good. She had a lot of good things to say.
She was great.
Yeah.
We do have our next guest on the line.
We do.
Michael Franzese.
That's right. Now be careful what you say here, Seth.
I'm going to be. Michael, Mr. Franzese, are you there?
He's got his mic muted.
Mic is muted. And
camera's muted.
There he is.
I'm here. How are you?
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Let me get to... Good. We're not on the air yet, right?
Yes, we are, but we could take you off if you want us to.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure that we're looking good on this end.
That's right.
How's that? Can you guys see me okay?
Yes, sir. Looks perfect.
Yep.
Good.
Well, how are you, sir?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm out here in Southern California, and you guys are in Cleveland, I assume.
Yes,
correct.
Yes, we are.
Looking forward to your visit here in a couple weeks, man.
Yeah, me also. I've been to Cleveland many times and love the city, love the area. I haven't been to Lorain, but I know it's just outside of Cleveland. I'm sure it's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. June 24th.
Saturday, June 24th at Lorain Palace Theatre. Tickets are still available. You're going to be talking all the mob stuff, which I know is Cleveland has a big history of mafia and mob related things. I used to work for a guy, Mike Trevisano, and he always wanted to do a mob podcast because he thought it was the most interesting stuff known to man. He was big into Danny Green. He was big into all the stuff going on here in Cleveland, and he'd be honored that I was able to talk to you today. And so I really do appreciate you coming on.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. And, back in the day, in the 70s, my dad was in prison in Leavenworth Penitentiary. Okay. And I would visit him, and there were a few guys from Cleveland, I won't mention their name now, that were there that I met. Nice guys. We met in the visiting room. And on 2 occasions, I had to bring a message back to some of the people in Cleveland. So I did that for them, and was always received very well there. And of course, I knew what was going on, through that whole Danny Green situation. I think there were more car bombings in that area than anywhere else in the country, for sure. So it's got a rich history. Cleveland, they were legit, back in the day.
Michael, when you think back to that time, how intertwined was the knowledge of what everybody else was doing? I mean, you obviously were in the Columbo family, so you knew what was going on there. But how much did you know about what was going on with the other families, or in Kansas City, here in Cleveland, with the other outfits that were going on?
Well, New York was really the stronghold because we had the most members. We had 5 families back there. So a lot of what was going on in the country was reported back to New York. And of course, you had the commission, and people on the commission, would all get together. So, I heard a lot only because I was pretty close to my boss at that time. I was a capo regime. And, so we knew what was going on, maybe not intimately, certainly not the day-to-day goings on, but we knew the status of things as they occurred in each city.
Did you know more or less than other people because you were an earner yourself? I mean, your primary claim to fame, for people that don't know, was that you made billions of dollars yourself for the mob. So would you pay attention to what other people were doing, or were you so consumed by what you were doing to generate income that you really didn't focus so much on, the Danny Greens of the world?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us in New York really focused on what was going outside of our city unless we had business there.
Okay.
And so my primary concern was obviously what I was doing with my crew and within my family. But you hear things because, it's one big organization, different families, but we all live by the same code, the same set of rules. So, to a degree, what was going on, but obviously you're more focused on what's going on in your life and your crew and your town.
Right.
What was that code like? I mean, what was the code between you guys?
Well, the fallacy, I think, among many people is that when we take the oath, like I took mine Halloween night, 1975, when we take that oath, that we're taking an oath to lie, steal, kill, cheat, and that's not it at all. Now, obviously, we're criminals. I'm not going to say that things like that didn't occur, but the oath we take is an oath of omerta, which means silence, meaning that we're not even supposed to admit the existence of that life. Now, obviously, many of us have broken that rule, and I don't think even guys that take it at the time we're taking it don't understand the real meaning of it. They were not even supposed to admit it exists. And of course, people like, within the life, like Gotti and Columbo and guys like that, obviously got caught on tape, and they talked about it and boasted about it. And certainly I've spoken about it, after that life. But that means something when you're taking the oath. But obviously it's been violated, time and time again. And I think that's a leading contributor to the decline in that life across the country.
Right. Now, well, how great was that life, though? I mean, you guys ran things. You guys, to me, I know movies and stuff like that glorify it, but to me, it seems like kind of a cool kind of an existence. But was it or not?
Well, you need to understand something. For nearly 100 years, the mafia in this country had tremendous control and tremendous authority. I mean, I always say the golden years of that life were really from the late 40s into the mid 80s, when the racketeering laws started to devastate, the life all over the country. But prior to that time, I mean, we controlled all the unions in this country. We controlled the Teamsters Union, 2.5 million members, multi-billion-dollar pension funds. When you have votes and you have money, you can control politics to a degree, because what do politicians want? They want votes and they want money. So if you can provide that for him, it gives you a lot of power. You call a strike of the Teamsters Union, you stop all those trucks going all over the country delivering goods. The same with the docks. We controlled the seaports. So we had tremendous authority, tremendous power at one time, right into the White House. And that's the truth. So it was a big deal. It's part of the history of America. Now, in saying that, I'm not trying to glorify the life, because I had a pretty good run, but there's also a difficult side to that life, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of treachery. I always say it's an evil lifestyle. And I want to be clear, I'm not calling the guys evil. I was part of that at one time. I just happened to be very fortunate to be out of it. But the reason I call it evil is because I don't know of any family, of any member of that life that hasn't been totally devastated, including my own, not my wife and kids, but my own family, devastated. And any lifestyle that, contributes to a family's devastation is not a good lifestyle. So, and I've been very clear in indicating that over the years. But while I was there, hey, can I complain? I mean, we were bringing in $8-10 million a week in my gasoline tax operation. I had, 300 guys under me. I had my own jet plane, my own helicopter. I had houses in LA, Florida, and New York City. So I had a good run. But at the same time, I had 18 arrests. I had 7 indictments, including 2 federal racketeering cases. I went to trial 5 times. I ended up doing 8 years in prison, paying a $15 million restitution and $5 million in forfeiture of my assets. So, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, right. Yes. The sad part is, you mentioned the government. The government has almost pushed the mafia out and became the mafia themselves. I mean, that's what the government today seems to be like. And in my opinion, anyways, is that any truth to that?
Well, listen, to take it a step further, I recently wrote a book called A Mafia Democracy. And because I can see the way they're operating very Machiavellian, just like we did on the street. I have never, ever seen, look, I always knew that there was corruption in the FBI and that people got framed. I experienced certain things. I have never seen the level of corruption in our political system as I'm seeing now. I'm very frightened for the direction this country is, not for me, not for me. I mean, I'm 72 years old, but I have 7 children. I have 6 grandchildren. I think the future of this country is really in jeopardy with current leadership and the direction that it's going in. The FBI is being weaponized to go after political opponents. Right. We see nothing but lies out of the White House, and I'm not going Republican or Democrat. I mean, my book is non-biased. It's right down the line. It's the system that we're seeing that's been created. That's very frightening, to be quite honest with you. Very frightening.
When you look at today, Michael, and I'm gonna say this, it's gonna sound weird, and tell me that it's just stupid. I know you're not advocating in any way for the mafia lifestyle to come back, but would it not be better if there was just a little bit of it? And what I mean by a little bit of it specifically is, like, as one example, the way the streets were run. There was respect. There was respect for the elders. You didn't disrespect your elders. You didn't disrespect certain people in the neighborhood. You treated your neighborhood well, where now it just seems like there's no respect for anything, not laws, not people, not anything right now, which I think is a major cause of the chaos outside of the political realm. Just day-to-day city life could use a little busting heads to straighten things up, no?
Let me tell you something. It's like the Wild West out there. In our neighborhoods, there was no crime. No crime. Why do people in the neighborhood love John Gotti? Because John protected the neighborhood. Same thing in our neighborhood in Greenpoint, where I grew up in Brooklyn. In all of our neighborhoods, we didn't tolerate people abusing people within our communities and our neighborhoods. And what's going on now, we wouldn't have tolerated that anyway. I mean, anyhow, you're not going to come into our neighborhood and go into our supermarket and steal $900 worth of goods and walk out of the store. We wouldn't allow that. We wouldn't allow that. That's petty nonsense. That's going on in California in a big way. Something so insane. They just passed a law in California where it's illegal illegal for a store employee to stop somebody that's stealing merchandise from their store. Now, maybe they're trying to protect them because, they can get hurt. But it's crazy. You're allowing criminals to come in and commit crimes. I've never seen anything like this in my life. But yes, I think that we would do a much better job of protecting our neighborhoods if we were still in the same power that we had back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. No doubt about it.
A lot of people talk about being a made man, and you were a made man. How does somebody become a made man?
Well, look, there's a process. First of all, somebody has to promote you for the job. I mean, my dad was the one who sent word downtown and said, I want my son to become a made member of that life. You can't just go up to somebody and say, hey, I'd like to join. How do I do that? Somebody has to vouch for you. They have to say you have what it takes. In my case, it was my father. And then what happens is I sat down with the boss at the time, the acting boss, and he said, Mike, I heard you want to become a member of our life. Is that true? I said, yes. Here's the deal. From now on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're on call to serve this family, the Columbo family. That means if your mother is sick and dying, you're at her bedside, we call you to service, you leave your mother, you come and serve us. From now on, we're number one in your life before anything and everything. When and if we feel you deserve this privilege, this honor to be a member, we'll let you know. That was the exact speech that I got. And then you're on call. You're a recruit at that time, and it's on-the-job training. You got to do anything and everything you're told to do to prove yourself worthy. You got to observe a lot. You got to absorb things like a sponge, so you really get to understand what the life is all about, what the rules mean, what the policies mean, what you can do and what you can't do. And then when and if they feel you're ready, well, then your night comes. And that's what happens. For me, it was Halloween night, 1975.
Interesting. Michael, let me ask you about a couple of people back in mafia history and what you think of them. First one that always fascinates me, just because the guy has lied so much that I cannot figure out what's true and what's not. Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. Was he really an involved guy with the mob? Was he a peripheral guy? Was he involved with the Jimmy Hoffa stuff, as he has said or did say? What was his involvement or role with the mafia?
Okay, yeah, very much embellished, especially in the movie that they did, The Iceman. He did not work as closely with Roy DeMeo and his crew. That was fabricated. It was embellished to a high degree. I knew Roy pretty well. I never really heard Kuklinski's name coming up. I think DeMeo might have mentioned it once to me, but it was highly embellished. And, he talked a lot, said a lot of things that weren't true. So, no, you got to understand something. In that life, when you're a made guy, it's your responsibility to take care of business for the family. Rarely do we go outside of that, for obvious reasons. I mean, we don't want to, jeopardize ourselves by putting our fate in someone else's hand, especially something as serious as murder. So you don't do that. When you're required, when you take that oath, to do whatever you're told to do. So that was highly embellished. Trust me on that.
All right. And the other one I wanted to ask you about, and I read this somewhere. I read that you met Don King at one point through an introduction from Al Sharpton. What kind of ties did Al Sharpton have to the mob?
Well, Al Sharpton's ties to the mob were really me and another guy by name, Danny Pagano, who was another guy in New York. And, Al Sharpton, quite honestly, he was a gun for hire back then. He would bring us clients from music industry that we had. I had connections with Spring Records, who was a company at that time. I also had somebody I was close with, Norby Walters, that represented a lot of the major black acts at the time. And we would pay Al Sharpton to bring people to us. I also used Al Sharpton, was myself and another gentleman. We used him when we were trying to unionize for bartenders and waitresses and the security guards in Atlantic City. We were trying to unionize the hotels. So we used Sharpton to bring people to work on the picket lines for us. He was a gun for hire. That's basically what he was. And he didn't really make the introduction to Don King for me. I just used him as an intermediary at the time.
Okay.
Because there was a big undercover investigation on myself and Don, and he and I were both the targets of that investigation.
What was prison?
Fortunately.
What was prison like? You went to prison, I think, in '86, and then you got out in '94, I believe, something like that. Well, what was that like after living that kind of lifestyle and then being locked up? What was that like?
Well, listen, I mean, I had visited my father just about all my life, so it wasn't that I was a stranger to prison, and I certainly was arrested several times, spent, a few nights there on and off. Look, it's like anything else. You got to make your way in there. It's not pleasant when anybody takes your freedom away. The worst part for me is I did 29 months and 7 days in solitary confinement, 6x8 cell, 24/7. That was rough. I'm going to be honest with you. I learned through that experience, we weren't meant to be kept in isolation. It's a rough deal. A lot of guys, when those lights went out at night, they didn't do well. A lot of moaning, groaning. I saw a lot of bad stuff happen during that time with guys that just couldn't handle it. So that was a rough time, 29 months especially. That's a long time to be left in solitary. But I got through it, and I'm okay. I mean, but would I want to repeat it? Absolutely not. Your freedom is very, very precious, people. Let me tell you, it's really precious.
So was it in prison that you became like kind of a born-again Christian, found faith?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, my wife, was Christian. My mother-in-law was. I mean, she was young when I met her. My wife was only 20, but she was a devout Christian, as was my mother-in-law. But was really when I was in solitary that I did my research, guys. To me, I didn't get struck with a lightning bolt and nobody spoke to me out of heaven, and I didn't get any visions in my sleep. It was really all about me researching different faiths for almost 3 years and coming up with the conclusion that Christianity was really the way to go. And that's how it started for me and how it's resumed over the past 25 years. It's only become stronger.
Somebody said Don King ran the numbers in Cleveland in the 70s and 80s. Is that true?
Yes. Well, I don't know if he ran the numbers, but I know he ran numbers.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Going back to the prison time, Michael, was your finding of faith what made you decide that you were going to try to leave the mafia, or was there a specific event where, somebody got wronged, somebody got killed, something happened that led you to say, you know what, I've got to get out of this lifestyle, even if it kills me to get out of it?
No, let me, it's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. When I left the life, I wasn't mad at anybody. I didn't want to get even with anybody. I wasn't a guy that said, oh, they did me wrong. Look, when you get involved in that life, you understand what it is. There's a lot of treachery in that life. There is backstabbing. There is envy. It's probably to a greater degree than maybe you see in corporate America. Maybe not, but it's obviously intensified because the consequences could be more severe. So you got to really you got to walk the line. You got the government on one side looking to take you down. You got guys within the family that you got to be careful of. But that's the life. You sign up for that. You get it. You understand it. What really got to me, I met this young girl. She was 20 years old. I fell in love with her. And like I said, I seen what was happening with the racketeering laws. Everybody was going away from hundreds of years, 50 years, 70 years. I was one of the youngest guys out of all of them. And I was a major target. I mean, I beat them 5 times. I knew if I went down once, my life was going to be over. Mm-hmm. They were going to give me 100 years, like they gave the commission guys. So, and then I fall in love with this girl, and I said, am I going to marry her, stay in this life, and she's going to be either a widow or I'm going to go off to prison for the rest of my life? Because there's no way I'm going to escape it. I'm too big a target at this point. It's going to happen. You're going to go down. So my original thought while getting away was really for preservation. I said, let me get out of here while I can. I beat them. Let me take some time in prison. I'll pay them some money. I'll marry this girl, move out to California. Maybe these guys will forget about me. So that was it initially. But my faith developed in the whole because it was a very tough time for me. And I just said, let me see if there's reality, because you know what, people, it's good to have a healthy fear of things that are bad for you. So while I'm in the hole, I'm saying, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life here, because the feds were upset with me, I wouldn't cooperate. And they claimed they were going to try to give me more time and bury me. And it was a long thing, too much to go into now. I'll go into it on June 24th more. But I said, you know, if this is it, if there is life after death, I want to see if it's real or if I'm kidding myself. And that's what really got me into a real search for the truth with respect to religion and faith. I read over 300 books. I had my wife send me in books on every single faith. And I really digested it, and I really went through it. And I listened to certain radio shows, different faiths online. I had a Sony Walkman. So I just came out of there a real believer based upon the evidence and my research. And like I said, in the past 25 years, it's only gotten stronger for me, seeing what God has done in my life and what I've seen he's done in other people's lives. So it worked for me. You know, and I share it now all over the world. I don't push it on anybody. I don't try to impose my faith on anybody. I don't try to turn anybody into a Christian. I can't do that. But I can share what I believe God has done in my life, and that's what it's all about.
Saturday, June 24th. You're going to be there 7 p.m. Lorain Palace Theatre. People can get tickets for that. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to ask, when you made that decision, when you turned your life over to God, when you made the decision that you were going to leave the mafia, what were you scared? I guess is the obvious question. Were you scared, and what were you scared of? Were you scared of, spiritual stuff? Were you scared of the guys that you were turning your back on and the oath that you were turning your back on? What would you have been scared of, if you were scared at all?
Well, again, man, I really appreciate the questions you're asking. I mean that. It wasn't fear, because when I was in that life for 20 plus years, you live not in a constant state of fear, but you live in a constant state of awareness that at any time, if you make a mistake, somebody can pounce on you. You know, one of the horrors of that life is you make a mistake, your best friend walks you into a room, you don't walk out again. And I had an experience where I was walked into a room. It made me realize that I could face death because I didn't cut and run. And obviously over my 20 years, I know of people that were walked into a room and didn't walk out again. So, you know, you have that awareness. Now, when I left the life, I said, okay, they're never going to walk me into a room. They're going to have to work to get me. I knew the lifestyle extremely well. So when I moved out to California, I changed my whole lifestyle. I didn't create patterns in my life. I didn't walk my dog every morning at 7. I didn't go to the same restaurant every Tuesday. I stayed out of nightclubs. I was very disciplined in conducting my life so that if somebody was after me, I would be aware of it, or they'd have a tough time. Because it's one thing to walk you in a room in New York. It's another thing to send a hit squad across the country and try to kill somebody and then get away with it. Because especially somebody that's aware of it. Right. So, that's the practical side. So I wasn't afraid, but I was extremely aware. Somebody asked me, I was at an event the other day, and somebody said to me, Michael, when did the fear or the awareness of your surroundings ever go away? And I said, well, maybe that'll happen tomorrow, because it hasn't gone away. I said, when I walk down the street with my wife, I'm always looking around. When I go into a place, I always case it out it's just natural. I can't help it. If I see somebody shady, I'm aware of it. So it's instinct for me, but again, and it wasn't I did gain a very healthy fear of hell. In the Christian Bible, God speaks about hell more than he does about heaven. And I said, if that's a real place, I'm in here 29 months and 7 days. If this was what hell is like, but a million times worse, I don't want any part of it. So it motivated me to learn about faith, because I said, I think there's got to be more to life than just death and it's over. It doesn't make sense to me. I believe in intelligent design. I believe in creation. I believe there has to be something more. So when you believe that, well, then you want to know, what do you do to get to the right place and not the wrong place? So I think all those factors contributed to where I am right now. and hopefully, I believe with all my heart, I'm in the right place, and we'll see. I'm not perfect, that's for sure. You know, let me tell you this, guys. You can take the boy out of Brooklyn. You can't always take Brooklyn out of the boy. I still have a lot of tendencies, you know, but I found out two things in life. Number one, you are who you hang out with. You're hanging out with the wrong crowd, get away from it because they're going to take you down, and you deserve it at that point. Number two, the path that you're going to follow in life is in accordance with who you're accountable to. When I was on the street, I was accountable to my oath, to my boss. I was a criminal. Now I'm accountable to God first, my wife, my children. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to screw up. A lot of people trust and believe in me. I don't want to let them down. So accountability plays a major role in your life as far as the direction you're going to take, the path you're going to take.
Definitely. Now, Michael, just one last question about the old days, I guess, and it's more now looking back at the old days. I mean, for people that don't know, you were a member of the Columbo family, and you know, obviously one of the five families. When you look back at it now, how do you think that the Columbos fit in the pecking order? You know, were they the top, the middle, the bottom of the five families, or what? Do you just not see it that way? You just see it as individual families that were doing individual things, or how do you see it as somebody that A, has observed it since you left, but B, also observed it from right inside it?
Well, listen, I'll answer that question in accordance with the five families in New York. The Genovese and the Gambino families were bigger than, they were twice the size of us. We had 115 made guys at the time in the Columbo family. Columbo's, Bonanos, Lucchese's were smaller. Genovese and Gambinos were bigger. And I think over the course of, I think they were more profitable. They were bigger revenue producers. I would say that. I went to my boss, Carmine Persco, at time, and I said, why do we only have 115 guys and these guys are double us? And he answered me, Michael, we go for quality, not quantity. I didn't quite get that either, but, you know, that was his response to that. But, you know, the unfortunate thing is our family was at war quite a bit. We had 3 major wars in our family throughout my lifetime. The other families didn't really experience that. So we were devastated in that regard. But I will say this, you know, when I got into the gas business and we were producing $8, $9, $10 million a week, that was a big uplift to the family at that time. But I guess in the pecking order, we would be middle of the pack. We would be, you know, Bonanos, Lucchese's and us, and then Gambino and Genovese would have been on top of us as far as numbers, and I think revenue producers also.
Was your time, your specific time, when you were hitting the hardest with the gas thing, when it was making the most money it was making, was that the most money any family in the mob ever made?
You know, I think they have said, and I've my own analysis of this, because I was a pretty active guy. I was around a lot of the families because when you're making that kind of money, you make a lot of friends, right?
Sure.
And I don't know really since the days of Prohibition that we were making that kind of money. I mean, we were bringing in $8, $10 million a week. It's a lot of money. I don't think anybody else was doing that. And remember this, we weren't big drug dealers. We were not. We weren't compared to the cartels in any way, shape, or form. We didn't generate money like that from drugs. We were not supposed to be involved in drugs. The night I got made, they said, Franzese, you do drugs, you die. And I know guys that died because of their small drug dealings. And if you remember, Castellano allegedly was going to kill Gotti and his crew because they were dealing in drugs. So we weren't supposed to deal in drugs. So I would think that we had quite a significant earning. I don't know if anybody else was earning that kind of money at that time, to be quite honest.
You and Sammy the Bull had some heated words. Are you guys square now?
We're square. Yeah. I mean, look, Sammy's he's a character for sure, but I got to like him. I like his family. You know, we had some differences back and forth, but we're square now. We're friends now, and we try to help each other out when we can.
Well, I know that you're recording you're part of your YouTube videos today, so I appreciate you taking the time. Where can people see I mean, obviously you can see it on YouTube. It's a bi-weekly series that you do, right, on YouTube?
Well, they would love for me to do it every day, but I just can't bring myself to do that. My team is always on me, content, but it's all I do now. You know, it's funny, guys. At one time I said I would never wear a wire. Now I got one on almost every day, you know, producing some kind of content. But I want to tell you that before you go, I wanted to say this, you know, I did something on the city of Cleveland and the mob a couple of months back, and we got such a tremendous response from people in the neighborhood, Cleveland and the surrounding areas. They've been helping promote the show. They've invited me to eat with them at different restaurants. I'm probably going to go visit Little Italy for a bit. The people have been so warm and welcoming. I really want to thank everybody from the city. Just thank you for the reception that I've been getting. I know we're going to have a good time on June 24th. We always do. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, June 24th, 7 o'clock, Lorain Palace Theater. You can still get tickets, man. I think this is going to be a hell of a night, to be honest. It's very interesting stuff.
And real quick, Michael, if you really need content, we'd be happy to give you this video if you want to put it on your channel that gets 1 million hits a day or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, send it over when you guys finish with it. Are we live now? We're live.
We are, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We are live.
But we've got your email. We'll send it over. We definitely will.
Send it over. We'll put it up there. And I mean this sincerely. I'm not blowing smoke. You know, I do a lot of these interviews, and a lot of times it's just everything the same. You guys ask really good questions, and I appreciate that because you give me an opportunity to say things that, you know, normally don't come out. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
and there'll be more
time.
of it on the 24th, right? More of the things that don't normally come out.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm saving a few good ones for that night.
There we go. Awesome.
We appreciate the time, sir. Thank you. And hope we'll see you on the 24th.
We'll see you on the 24th.
Well, you're certainly invited, so I hope you show up. And, you know, we do a VIP thing, too. We take photos. We sign books. We do a Q&A, and that's always the best part because people really unload their questions, and I answer everything.
Great.
We have a good time with it, so hope to see you then.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye. That was awesome. That was cool.
That was really good. Wow.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Me too. I'm like over here, like, I don't usually get like nervous about interviews. Never. Like, no matter who it is, you know, and I've interviewed some big people, you know, Metallica and Ozzy and, you know, big musical people. I don't usually get nervous. I was very nervous about this just because I'm such a mob fan.
The thing that kind of sucks is that I know that I had a ton more questions.
Me too.
You did too. But he only had a certain amount of time because he's filming his YouTube series today. And so we only had a certain amount of time. But I want to thank him for coming on.
And he came on early too. So that was great.
June 24th, Saturday night, 7 o'clock. I think it's going to be a very good time.
I think so too. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm definitely, I already told Neely that I may be late and or not available on Classic Metal Show that night. Meeting a mobster outweighs anything else I do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very, very cool.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Marie though for hooking me up with that interview. She's a fan, and you know, she wanted me.
That was great.
It was fantastic. So
so good. Very, very happy with that one. I'm glad he didn't have internet problems, and we didn't have internet problems, and you know, it just went off well. And boy, that guy has a zillion videos out there of him being interviewed, and for him to say that ours is one of the best he's done,
I'll take it.
I'll take that any day of the week.
We need to pull that quote and start every show with it, and send it to everybody.
Exactly. Well, and no kidding, I will send this video to him.
Yeah, and no kidding, I'm going to find out about us going to that show because I want to be there and meet that man.
I want to go too.
You know, one of my goals in doing this is to make Triv proud too, because I know that this would have been something that Triv would have loved.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very excited to have him on. So
too fun.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll get into some other stuff and wrap things up.
All right, sounds good.
Hang on.
There's no place like home, and whether it's furniture, artwork, home accessories, appliances, or that one-of-a-kind collectible, Yellow Brick Road Online Auctions allows you to find everything you need from the comfort of your own home. The owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions has been conducting online estate auctions for over 8 years by providing homeowners with a stress-free process to liquidate all items that have accumulated over the years.
I'm Melissa Mendici, owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions. Log on today to find your heart's desire.
Hey, it's Seth from Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road in the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center right next to Big Lots. You got to check out Mario, man. Great guy, does a lot for charities, but can perform miracles with hair. He even made me look clean cut. Does my hair, does a great job. Love talking to the guy while I'm sitting there. It's a great place to go, local business. You gotta go to Mario's Barbershop in Parma. Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road. Again, in Parma, Pleasant Valley Shopping Center, right next to Big Lots. Or give them a call, 216-520-1977. That's 216-520-1977. Mario's Barbershop in Parma.
Trust Joe's Lakewood Computer at 14035 Madison in Lakewood. They have over 30 years of professional service handling laptop and desktop repair services, virus removal, and data migration, and much more. You can trust them with hardware updates to your computer's memory and hard drive. Call 216-651-3880. Whether you need a simple Windows install or you're interested in the latest computers for gaming, call Joe's Lakewood Computer at 216-651-3880.
This is Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers for attorney Will Spiegelberg. Will Spiegelberg is not only a name you know, he's someone you can trust as your attorney no matter the circumstance. Will Spiegelberg is an attorney you can always count on. Will Spiegelberg is the attorney you should contact for all your legal work. When you need an attorney, call Will Spiegelberg at 216-233-4240. Attorney Will Spiegelberg, a great teammate. 216-233-4240.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. With Mentos fresh and full of life, nothing gets to you. Staying fresh, staying cool. With Mentos fresh and full of life, fresh goes better with Mentos fresh. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
I have to get that in there at least once a show.
Of course.
Because it's thoroughly enjoying to me. Yeah, I love that interview today. That was fun. I can't imagine being that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, I really can't imagine looking over my shoulder all the time.
Yeah, because these movies glorify that lifestyle. And quite honestly, I think that there was a lot to it that could be glorified. I mean, you're making that kind of money. You run stuff. You go in any restaurant, bar, whatever you want, and it's on the house. You run the city, and the government unfortunately has become that. But back then, that was kind of a cool lifestyle, and I think there's something, again, not something maybe to look up to, but at the same time, kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, if and when we ever have the chance to have him on again, I would love to I would love to have a list of those movies. And just ask him which ones are good and which ones are just bullshit.
I know. I wanted to ask him about that, whether it's Goodfellas or Godfather.
Yeah, Bronx Tale or there's so many of them.
Yeah, and how accurate they actually are.
Yeah. And that's a guy that would know. That is a guy that definitely would know. So, yeah, it's funny. He was talking about the bombings in Cleveland. When I was a little kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, whatever, young, very young, my dad would take me to Indians games all the time. And my dad was notorious for parking 900 miles away from the stadium. He would never, and back then, I mean, what could parking have cost in the stadium? $2, $3 or something? But he wouldn't park there. We would park 50 blocks away and walk up, and I used to, as a little kid, I used to ask him, I'd be like, Dad, why can't we park at the, at the stadium? And I remember him saying, and again, I was like 7 years old. And I remember him saying, yeah, you'll get blown up if you park closer. And then he would kind of laugh it off. But little did I know,
it's actually true,
that was actually what it was because I would have been about the age in question. I was born in 68, so about 7 years old in 75. And that's right in that whole Danny Green, 75, 76, 77 era, right? That's right in that time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, I thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. You know, it was, my dad was actually being, you know, legitimate.
I think we had this guy on, Jim. I think we had the cop on at some point when I was there. It would be good to get on the show as well. Danny Green, wasn't Danny Green blown up over on the east side? Like, I think it was blown up at my dentist's office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My mom knew him. My mom knew Danny Green.
Oh, really?
She worked as a banker for National City.
Yeah.
And I guess Danny Green did his banking at the office in, what city would that be? Bedford. That's where Danny Green did his banking. So he would come in, and my mom was like assistant manager of the branch or whatever.
Yeah.
So he would come in and he would sit with her and do his banking. And
that's awesome.
So my mom, when that movie came out, The Irishman.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm fascinated with the mob. So I was telling my mom, I was like, oh, you got to watch this movie. It's about a Cleveland mobster, Danny Green. She's like, oh, I knew Danny. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean you knew Danny? You know, but it's just crazy. It just shows how small this town really is.
Yeah, Brainerd Place in Lyndhurst. My dentist's office was there for a while. And
yeah, it's just I mean, isn't it crazy how small this town really is, though?
I noticed that you both respected Mike so much. No profanity until now. Look, I don't want to get shot. He could say he's a reformed, Christian, but
who swore? Did I swear?
No, I don't know.
I don't think I swear. I'm trying harder there. Whoever said that. I'm trying harder. I'm taking your comments last week about me needing a swear jar on this show to heart. I will swear like crazy on the other shows, but I'm trying not to swear as much on this show.
Speaking of other things that
yes.
I don't know if we can get into another topic now or not, but
why not?
One of the things I wanted to tell people is that there is an Odyssey channel set up now.
Yes.
Odyssey, ODYSEE.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it down here at the bottom. ODYSEE. And then there's a Seth Williams Show channel on there, correct?
There is.
And you can subscribe to said channel.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see extra content that you and I put up together or separately, depending on what's going on. But, there's extra stuff there to look at.
Yeah, there's the channel right now.
Hey, look, there it is.
There's the channel right now. And you can see you've got some bonus content here. It's up.
Bonus content, and bonus content will be going up often.
Yeah, pretty often. You put up one, I put up one, and there's another one that's uploaded, but I haven't made it live yet. But that will be up there. Plus, you can watch the show. If you sign up, you can watch the show here. And going forward, not tonight, obviously, but at some point, we're going to do, segments that are too hot for YouTube. We'll just turn all the YouTube stuff off, and we'll just go and do it over on Odyssey.
And go to Odyssey, so you can check it out there. But it's also a way to support this show and our endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it costs a couple of bucks.
Less than a cup of Starbucks.
Less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Absolutely.
That's right.
But like a video that's going to be up there
mm-hmm.
is my first attempt at driving a vehicle.
That's right.
And it's been over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I stuffed myself into my car, prosthetic leg and all, and it was fairly uncomfortable. But my attempt at driving, you'll be able to see on that Odyssey channel.
Yeah.
So,
oh, yeah. The Odyssey channel is going to be fun because it's where we can really stretch out and do the stuff that won't get us kicked off of stupid YouTube.
Yeah, I said some stuff on mine Another video that I posted up there
Mm-hmm.
that I probably would not say here.
Yeah, the YouTube Gestapo would have shut you right down.
Yeah, they would not have let that fly. My theories.
Probably not.
But so that's out there. Just like
Yeah.
everybody know, the Odyssey channel is out there. It's set up, ready to go. It costs you a few bucks, but you'll get a lot of extra content and a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
To check out.
We will definitely make sure you get five whole dollars worth out of that.
$5. That's it. So there you go. Odyssey. Check it out.
There you go.
Tucker Carlson got a cease and desist. I know that you were kind of passionate about this earlier.
I love this. I love that he's rattling the chain.
Fox
First of
News kicked him off.
Kicked him off. Yeah.
And then he got a show now that he does on Twitter.
Right.
Last I checked, Twitter's a site that you can go on and post kind of what you want to post. And
yeah.
Fox
And
got
it's
plenty of
not
seasons.
it's not a competitive. It's not competitive to Fox News as a channel.
No.
There is no Twitter channel on your cable box.
No, there's not.
It's not. It's just another medium to spew ideas. Good for Tucker Carlson for putting it out. And did you see the numbers that he did?
Oh my God. Yeah, those are it's unbelievable.
170 million views of his first two shows.
And I was one of those guys. I like Tucker. Honestly, I liked Tucker way back when he was on the 9 o'clock slot on Fox.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot more entertaining and it was a lot less serious. It was more just fun. I liked looking at his expressions and the way his eyes moved, his hair and everything was kind of funny. When he took the 8 o'clock slot, I know it's prime time and he had to deliver, and he did. But I was sad when he left. But now, and I was one of those first people that signed up for his website to get all the information, what he's going to be doing.
Sure.
When he got kicked off of Fox, and sure as shit, he's on Twitter, and I watch it when I can.
Sure, and I love the fact that Twitter is out there trying to compete now with YouTube. I love that they still have work to do with it because it's still not set up quite enough. But I've been using it lately. Like tonight's episode is out on one of the Twitter channels. Well, I think it's on the CMS network Twitter. It's broadcasting right now live. But you can broadcast live to Twitter, which is great. For some reason, you can't upload a big video to Twitter, though. Like we can do the full 2 hours here. Live, but we couldn't upload it. If we wanted to upload, we'd only upload like 90 seconds or something.
Right. Or you can post a link to the show. But
yeah. But they'll work all that out. They'll work it out, and then they'll have some link on your profile at some point where you can see videos and whatnot. But
I just want to see some of these sites go at least down the middle when it comes to content. Twitter is a nightmare, man.
Twitter's a cesspool of left-leaning lunacy.
I sit there and I get some notifications. I don't even follow some of these people, but I still get notifications when these Occupy Democrats Twitter thing is pushing shit out. There's one broad, she's way hot, but I could never be with a woman like that because she's crazy. Like I'd have to duct tape her head. So I wouldn't have to listen to anything that she said because she's absolutely bizarre on Twitter. But I'd like to see Twitter or some of these sites go a little bit more towards the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice now, wouldn't it? I mean, the ones that are, and really there is none that's in the middle. There's the big tech, which is all left leaning, and then there's the fringe sites, the Minds and the Gab and the
nobody knows where they're at.
Yeah, nobody knows of them. Even Odyssey, nobody really. Odyssey's about as middle of it as it gets, but still nobody knows it. And then the funky spelling makes it even harder to find it.
Yeah.
You
posted a link. So
yeah, I did post the link to the show, but
my goal is to get one subscriber tonight. $4.99. It's called the Silver Package.
Yeah, the Seth Silver. Go get one.
Seth Silver, and then you can at some point tomorrow probably see me drive a car. And you can see me talking about some Brown stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff on the Odyssey. Check it out.
It is. But no, back to Tucker. I was just going to say, Gunner's right. He has the non-compete. But does he have... It's going to be an interesting case. I saw that the way they're framing it is that can they stop him from saying anything?
Well, that's just it. Because, I mean, I know his non-compete goes until December of 24.
Next year,
I think,
yeah.
Which is a long time for him not to be able to do anything. But did he skirt that contract by going to somewhere like Twitter where it's more of a free reign kind of thing? It's not like he signed with ABC.
Yeah.
It's not like he signed with NBC or CNN or anything like that. You know, it's a Twitter.
Yeah, it's not a TV. It's not a TV channel. It's
just
a
a social media platform. You can go do whatever you want to do, supposedly.
Yeah. It's the same as he could post about his family being on vacation. Now, that wouldn't be content for Fox. You know, it's content that's not for Fox. So it's going to be interesting to see how this legal thing goes. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it is defended. Because I think it's going to... I mean, I don't know about you, but I think mass media, mass TV media is dead. Just like I think mass radio media is dead. You know, I think it's still there for old people that just are stuck using it. Yeah. But, you know, like for me personally, and I think I'm closer to what most people are doing, most consumers today, I don't watch anything in real time.
No, I don't either.
I don't watch. I can't remember the last time I said, "Oh, I gotta wait. I can't go out because Law and Order SVU is going to be on at 9 tonight or whatever." You know, I watch everything on demand now.
And I honestly can't tell you the last time I watched a local news channel.
Yeah.
For my news throughout the day. I mean, I search their websites for stuff to talk about here on this show, so I'll go to Fox 8 and check out what they're doing. But I don't watch a local newscast unless I happen to be sitting around and say I got to see who the hottest weather girl is at the network is hired. Because I'll tell you what, they're starting to get rid of some of the old timers that have been on these weather channels, on these news channels,
right?
And they're just hiring the most ridiculously good-looking women that they can find to tell you what the weather is. So I'm more interested now in weather than I've ever been in my entire life.
You're like every day. You're like, let's see if there's a tornado coming.
Let me see how that smoke thing is going on in Canada. Yeah. And if I don't like that one, I'll go to the next channel and see what their coverage is like.
Yeah. Well, it should be. I mean, I just think that we're coming to the end of the TV era. Just like everything else dies, as far as the media's grown past it. And like as an example, like I have YouTube TV, I barely use it. I almost never use it like within YouTube TV. Like I have YouTube TV, but I have all the individual apps that are, for the channels. Yeah. And then I use the YouTube TV login to watch the apps, to watch things on the apps. And the reason I do it that way is because I don't need 75 channels confusing me of what I want to watch. If I know I want to watch, I don't know, a serial killer documentary, I know that I can just go to, certain channels, Discovery Plus or whatever. And that's it.
We got one.
We got one?
Thank you,
nice.
Scott.
We got one.
So I was going to cut the cord on cable.
Okay.
Because the cable here is ridiculous. The internet isn't that great. And so I called Cox, my Cox cable service. I don't like just saying Cox, but so I called them to say, hey, look, I don't know what to do here. Now my bill the other day that I paid was literally $305 for 1 month. We're talking
$305. Wow.
Of cable. And it's not like I'm loaded up with. I have HBO only because I want the free Max app channel that they have, so I can look up a bunch of movies on that.
Okay.
Which is fine. But for one movie channel, and not like a premium sports package or anything like that, I'm getting $305 a month.
That's crazy, dude.
So I called and I said, "Hey, man, this is ridiculous." Especially because last month it was only $280 something.
But do you have phone and internet on that too?
I have internet. I don't have home phone or anything like that.
Okay.
And so I said, hey, I need to make this cheaper. He's like, you're already on the cheapest package. Honestly, the guy was a dick. And
that
he's
can't
like,
be
and
right.
by the way, you're under contract. And I said, I'll tell you what you can do with that contract.
Yeah.
I said, where the hell did customer service go? I said,
Mhm.
I'm the customer here, and I'm telling you that I have a problem with paying $305
Yeah.
for getting next to nothing. And you're not helping me. He's like, you're already on the cheapest plan. I said, well, what would it be to just cancel all the cable, and all I want is internet service from you guys?
Right.
$185 a month. Now,
That's
if you take $185 a month just for the internet, and then you tack on the $80 or whatever it is for Hulu or YouTube Live or something like that, then I'm already back up to where my cable bill was. I mean, it's insane what it's costing me just to get TV and internet in this house.
Yeah, that's dude. You need to call like as a new customer. You really do. You need to call as a new customer. I have Windstream, but I have Windstream's fiber, which is like 1,000 times faster than regular cable internet. I mean, it's literally it's a what is it, a terabyte up and a terabyte down. It is screaming fast. I can download these 2 gig files, which is what the show size is, 2.5 gig, in about 8 seconds. I mean, it's just like right down. And the same with uploading them too. When I upload stuff, it's that same thing.
See, after the show today, I'll try uploading the show, and it'll be tomorrow before I can actually go.
Yeah, no, dude, I literally, I can do it so fast that when I'm doing CMS, I can cut segments of the show up, save them, and upload them within a 12-minute window that I have when we're playing music.
300, cut the cord. I would love to cut the cord, but again, to get the internet here, it's $185.
That's ridiculous, dude. You need to call Windstream and
I called Windstream. They said they're not available here. That's the other problem is that I can't find another cable company that does anything here.
That sucks.
You can't stick a dish on the side of this place. It's a condo,
Yeah.
so you can't stick a dish anywhere. I don't even.
And that would be slow as hell.
And then on top of it, then I can't get Spectrum over here because they don't offer the service here. Nobody offers service here other than Cox.
The Verizon box, but that's slower. The little box cube that they sell now, the home internet,
$25 a month, 5G.
5G Verizon. That's what that is.
The problem is that I can't get my cell phone to work in this house half the time because there's like a dead zone right through the middle of it.
That's a big
So I don't know if
problem.
Verizon's going to help me or not. I have Verizon for phone, but you know from talking to me that if I walk through the kitchen, my phone dies.
Exactly.
Now that I am using that Wi-Fi only calling though, and it has worked.
It does fix things. I've noticed that too. But now, of course, my phone is dying. That was an unexpected $1,200 bill I had today. Now the internal SIM is failing, so I had to buy a new phone today.
All right. Yes, gonna need a lot more subscribers to pay for that cable internet and your phone and everything else.
Amen to that.
So subscribe to the Odyssey channel, please. I mean, it's insane.
It is. It's nuts. Well, hopefully Windstream gets to your area soon, and it should because they are spreading out quick. Because I'll tell you, dude,
flyer or something.
Dude, my internet speed, as crazy fast as it is, take a guess what my internet cost is a month. Take a guess.
$200.
You are more than double.
Really?
My internet cost with tax $80.45.
Wow, I'm getting screwed here.
And like I said, terabyte up, terabyte down. Smoke, in fact, where you're probably doing what, 50-10? 50 down, 10 up.
What do I know? I know that I hit upload and it takes forever.
Yeah, you're doing a 50-10 or maybe 120.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm about to get on a telephone pole somewhere outside and start to wire some high-speed internet in this house because what I got ain't working.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's crazy.
I'm grounded now. I got like a metal leg, so I can't get electrocuted or anything. I don't think.
Well, no, you got a metal leg. You definitely could get electrocuted. You're more likely to get electrocuted.
I think my dad signed up. We got
Look
two.
at that. There we go.
All right. Well, at least I can go out and get some chewing gum later tonight.
A piece, one piece.
That's a great price, Chris.
Well, let me tell you how great it was. And real quick, and this is obviously unpaid, but I will give Windstream a free commercial. Windstream has it. They're still running the special because I saw it on their building.
Yeah.
You sign up with Windstream, you get the Windstream fiber, or it's called Kinetic, I guess. Kinetic fiber.
Right.
It's $80 a month for a terabyte up, terabyte down, and you get 3 months of free internet to test it, to try it.
Yeah.
3 months for no cost. And then if you want to keep it, you can get an extra 100 days free if you just sign up to have them automatic draw. So you can get 4.5 months of free internet, basically, and $80 a month and it's the best internet I've ever had. I had Spectrum forever, and it always, once a week, I always had to reboot it.
Well, you gotta let me know if you see Windstream expanding to areas all over the place.
I'm sure on their website they've probably got the thing that you can sign up and get an email when it's in your town.
That kind of speed internet will beat me on my porn timing.
It is convenient for that as well. That's
hey, for sure. Well, that's the one thing that Cox isn't. That doesn't go well with. That's the one thing my service isn't hurting on is the speed on my phone.
It's ironic how Cox aren't good for porn.
Oh yeah, look at that. I'm selling AOL CDs if you want one. All right, I want to thank Julia Poorman coming on tonight. Michael
Franzese.
Franzese, is that how you
That's
say it?
how
now?
he said it. That's how he said it.
All right, well, there you go. I want to thank you for coming on again. June 24th.
June 24th, Lorain
Palace Theatre.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll see you there. I'm going to email that guy.
I want to go. I definitely want to go.
So I will let you know. But thank you, everybody, for listening tonight. Thank you if you subscribe to the Odyssey channel. I appreciate it. And we'll make sure we're updating content for you.
All right.
So thank you guys again. We'll talk to you again on Wednesday.
See y'all.